Hey everyone, what's up? My name is Patrick and I'm from Germany, and today I want to share with you the story, my personal story on how I found Jesus and how Jesus helped me in literally every aspect of my life. I was born in Germany, like I said already, and I was raised Protestant in a Christian household, so praying in the evening to God and everything was pretty normal to me. I would say I had a pretty good connection to all that stuff. It was normal for me to be also one of the only really more devoted Christians in class who really went regularly to church and everything like that, until I guess I would say puberty hit in and I started to just care about like the opinion of others and like be cool and whatnot. So this whole church thing and this whole faith got like, it's not something considered to be cool in Germany, let's say. So I was being more and more distracted from that and more focusing on friends and you know, climbing in the social circles and all that stuff. Also, once my rational mind kicked in, I started to have some serious questions about the Bible and if the Bible is like literally true or not. I also felt like people don't really ask those questions enough. They just have blind faith, and it started to feel like a stupid thing for me a little bit. Like, why do people believe if they don't even ask things? Isn't it good to ask things and be a little bit skeptical about things and, you know, find out what's the truth and whatnot? And stuff like, I don't know, the Ark of Noah or like Adam and Eve. I was like, this can't be literal, right? Because this is not in alignment with science. Today I know better, but yeah, I don't know, like a big flood or what, that sounded like started to sound really unrealistic and whatnot. So this was also like some major doubts I started to have, and it just fell one after the other. So if that's not true in the Bible, then maybe that's also not true, and that's also not true, and maybe at the end of the day, this whole story about Jesus is also not true. That was pretty much the consequence I took from there. So I started to despise the topic more and more and see more and more like the blind faith people, and I was like, yeah, I'm not like that. I want to, you know, question the world. I want to find out truth about the world. I don't just want to have blind faith. And then around the age of 17, my parents divorced, and even though I didn't know at that time, I guess it was a major event in my life because we also stopped to go to church in that time. It was just like, it all came together. So we didn't go to church anymore, they separated, there was like an illness also in the family, and even got close to the topic of death at that point. I really started to be like, if there's a God, I don't even want to know him, because I feel like he doesn't help me anyway, so I have to do it myself. You know, I'm standing on my own and I have to do the things myself. So then I started to have this whole shift in my character of like me against the world. I have to stand on my own feet. I can't be relying on anyone, especially not like something invisible that doesn't really even can help me here in this world. So because my mom left the household, I guess there was one major wound that I then tried to fill with like other girls and trying to become good at that topic. I first went to the gym, you know, got like a really nice body, six-pack and whatnot. Then I realized that's not enough because that won't get me the girls. I need to get good in social communication and stuff like that. So then I got into this whole area of, I don't know, pick up girls and stuff like that and learn how to interact with them in a way that they like you and whatnot. So what I pretty much learned is to put on a mask that I like would be liked. So this was my survival mechanism in a way, because I knew like this I could get the validation, I could get the number of the girl, and I could get her laughing and whatnot, but I wasn't really authentic about who I am or my actual wounds. So I had like this long phase of compensation in the world and pursuing all these things, but just realizing that none of these things actually last. They were always like a little high. For example, if I got like a number of a girl or a date with a girl, it was like a high, but it wasn't enough. I needed more, so then I needed a kiss from the girl or whatnot, and this continued obviously. And then let's say that girl wasn't enough anymore, so I needed another one, and all that stuff was just, it was never enough to feel the actual wounds that I had. But anyway, with then the girls topic done, I then pursued like business. I thought that money will fill me, that like having my own business and traveling the world is something I saw on social media and all over the place to be something that's really worth doing. So all these people, you know, hanging around on the beach and with their laptop, their MacBook, doing a little bit of work and, you know, living the dream pretty much. So I got really hooked on that idea, and I started to pursue this like a madman. I was literally a workaholic, I guess. You know, shifted my whole focus of my worthiness into like the money and business side of things, until eventually it worked out. It took me quite a while, it wasn't easy. I managed it actually to live off an income from my laptop, and then we started to travel and whatnot, which was really cool. It was also like very hype feeling to be like, hey cool, I'm now a digital nomad. So I lived in like multiple countries. I lived, you know, in the Caribbean Sea, I lived in Dubai, I lived in Istanbul, I lived in the Dominican Republic afterwards, I lived in Spain, I lived in all those places. It was cool to see a new culture always, so don't get me wrong, but it wasn't filling the actual void that I had inside of myself. I had reached what I thought is like the goal of society, let's say. So I had like a nice cute apartment close to the Caribbean Sea. I could live pretty comfortably, didn't have to worry so much about money. I didn't work a lot in that time because I was like relaxing, so I worked maybe like 2-3 hours per day on average, maybe 4. I had this feeling of like, what now? Because that's it, that's the whole matrix, that's the whole, you know, become self-employed, make your own business and travel and what, that's it. Like I played it through and I was like, that's it. Then I realized I have to help other people, you know. I don't know, there came this huge drive of helping others. But it wasn't from a place of abundance, it was more from a place of filling my void. So then I started to help others, you know, in marketing, because I also wanted to help them live that lifestyle. Even though I knew kind of that lifestyle is not the actual goal, it's kind of weird, but I was like, that's the only thing I can help people with. So people seem to want to live this lifestyle, so I'm helping them to get there. But anyway, there was another development in that same time emerging, because I realized this world is not everything that there is. And I started to read about spirituality, and there was this major concept of you are not your thoughts, you are the one who's listening to your thoughts. And that was a major thing. So there was like one day, I remember I was going up to the rooftop pool, and I was like, I had this click, you know, I was like, wait, it's true. If I can hear my thoughts going on in my head, meaning I am not my thoughts, but I am the one who's listening. So I am the awareness or the consciousness who's listening to my thoughts, because if not, I couldn't hear them, right? And I had this little waking up moment of like, oh boy, that's crazy. So the whole concept of who I am might not even be true. Like, maybe I'm way more than I think I am, and maybe there's a whole lot to discover about me. So I got into this whole journey of like finding out who am I, you know, and what's reality, I guess. Like, what's the reason we're here? What's the purpose of all this? And I researched and I learned a lot about all that stuff to really, I guess you could call it like the new era or the new age spirituality direction. Just to find out answers. I just wanted answers at that point, because I was like, I achieved everything that the world says is worth achieving. So I was like not interested in the world anymore. So I was only interested in the spiritual realm. So I started to really dig there, and yeah, I wanted to know what this is all about, right? I felt like there's so much to learn, you know, there were so many things and so many angles and so many things to read, and it was really exciting to have the feeling myself that my own consciousness level is like rising and rising and rising. So I felt like I understood the world more. I understood it more into the context of everything. It really helped to process all that stuff and to get up like some old wounds and process them, feel them, and not be too attached to them, so you can process them properly and don't go crazy about them, right? But also there was a development which I'm gonna get into now, which is also the climax of my testimony. It's this whole thing of ego death. So because you are not your thoughts, you're not your body, you're not your past, you're not your hobbies, you're not your character's pretty much also like something you can shape and form as you want. You can manifest a different character into your life. This different character would get different results. So pretty much everything around you is apparently just a manifestation of yourself. So there was this whole idea of shaping yourself new in a way that if you shape yourself different, you're gonna achieve a different life, okay? This is this whole manifesting thing that many people probably know. And this whole idea only works if you empty yourself first. Means you have to empty all the past things that you carry with you, your past beliefs, the past concepts and yeah, fixed concepts that you have of yourself. Because only if you free yourself from them, you can shape a new version of yourself. And with this new version of yourself, you can shape a new reality around you. And I really made this separation process step by step and separated myself from all these old concepts. This ended up in a climax of me being detached from everything. I didn't feel like I am Patrick anymore. I am just the observer of Patrick. And Patrick is just, you know, like a few letters that were given to me. You know, it's just a fixed concept from the past. I really detached 100% from all these past concepts, which was a very freeing experience in the beginning. I have to say it was very freeing even, and it felt super amazing from terms of, wow, I have reached this high level of detachment, you know, getting closer to the scale of enlightenment and whatnot that Buddha has reached and whatnot. There was this 1 week, okay? In this 1 week, we smoked a lot of weed because with weed I felt like I have more access to the ultimate consciousness and I can download more truths, and these truths help me understand everything and whatnot. So we did smoke a lot of weed, and there was one evening where I had a really, really weird experience. I had the feeling that I am quite literally gonna wake up now and, you know, be in the movie of The Matrix. So, because I was so detached from what's real and what's not, and I really wanted to detach also, this whole ego death that I don't really exist, I am just unlimited consciousness, got me to this idea that none of this is real. Like everything that you're experiencing, none of it is real. I had a complete and utter detachment from reality. And this was super, super scary, but at the same time super exciting, because I was waiting for this moment of waking up, having this enlightened state to realize that nothing is real and I am unlimited consciousness. So I was waiting at the same time for this. So I was excited while being super scared, because I was like, it might gonna be like this click and then I'm nuts, then I'm crazy, because then I'm that guy who's gonna walk around in the street and be like, none of this is real, guys, you know, like these crazy people on the street, you know, who scream that stuff. So I was super scared I'm gonna turn like absolutely insane. It also felt like dying pretty much. It felt like I was turning into nothing. And this started really like a chain of being super anxious and super scared because of this fear of death that then really started to manifest. And it was a horrible, horrible feeling. Probably like these feelings, like the fear of dying that actually manifested really strong, was probably the worst feeling I ever experienced in my life. This then manifested into panic attacks that I had, like a few, the weeks following to that. So when my body was shaking and I couldn't control my body anymore, it was like fibering and everything, and my hands were turning like white, like having problems to breathe, exactly, having not enough air. So it was a super new experience for me to have this, and I didn't like it at all. It was absolutely horrible that time. There was a matter of few weeks where I was like, that is an absolute horrible life. like to be afraid of going to bed, to think like the whole day, like, oh boy, maybe today I'm gonna have another one. Oh boy, I don't want to have another one, and then it's starting already. Like the blood is like, it's like turning out of your hands. And you're like, oh boy, it's starting. And then when you say, oh boy, it's starting, it's like getting worse. And it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. And you have to calm yourself constantly. It's a super weird battle that you have then the whole day, and you can't really relax. So this was really, really bad. And like I said, the panic attacks were so bad because I was literally afraid I'm gonna die and turn into nothing, and I'm just gonna die. Because my whole body was like this shaking. I was afraid that my heart is just also gonna shake and just stop, right? That was like, I thought that's gonna be it. There was one night where I was like about to have another panic attack, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I was literally like, boy, I can't anymore. Like, this is too much. Like, where have I gotten into? Why am I so low? I thought I'm raising in consciousness, not falling. You know, I felt like super low. So I was like, I can't anymore myself. And there was like a voice inside of me that told me, pray. Go on your knees next to your bed and pray. And I was like, pray, but pray to who? You know, like, I don't even believe in God at that point. Like, I don't even think that there is anything like an external being. I am God, you know, I am consciousness, I manifest everything. So this is all my own power manifesting stuff. So who should I pray to, right? Anyway, pray. I was like, having definitely a huge amount of resistance to do that because I haven't prayed in years. Like literally 8 or 9 years the last time I prayed before. So I was like, okay, going on my knees, and I was like starting to talk to God as if He were real. So I was like, hey God, look, I haven't talked to you in a while. I don't know if you're real. I'm not sure. But if you're real, with open hands and like literally crying, like crying super hard, I was like, if you're real, help me right now. Like, I need you right now, right here, right now. I can't anymore. I got myself into something that I can't get out of. It's like a vicious downward cycle that's dragging me into like a place that I don't want to be, into a person that I don't think I am. It's just completely destroying my life, like the experience of life that I had. And I was like, I can't take this alone anymore. Please help me. And I also remember saying, if you help me tonight, I will believe in you. And he did. He took, in that evening, like I said, that panic attack was already was emerging, so I was starting to have one, but then I was like, pray. And he took the anxiety from me in that evening, and it maybe was one of the first nights where I started to sleep super relaxed again. And then I completely got hooked on praying. I was just starting to pray because I felt like he's filling me with a peace and with not an understanding like it was with the New Age spirituality. I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't. But it was a feeling of peace and quietness and feeling secure, feeling loved, feeling comfortable that I got while communicating to him and praying to him. So I got completely hooked on praying. I really loved to pray, and it calmed me down so much, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. How is that possible? Like, is there really something, you know? Like, is there an external being, like an external God that I can connect with? Because I always thought I am, in a way, God. I am consciousness. I am connected to God, like in a way that I am consciousness, so I am part of God. Or is there really an external being that can help me out? So I really wanted to get to know this God. And I was like, where do I start? And the first thing that came to my mind was to read the Bible. With this whole background of New Age spirituality, I was like reading the Bible being like, whoa, this book is insane. Like, there's a lot of crazy good stuff in there, super deep, super profound. Like, whoa, like not realizing that like New Age spirituality took from the Bible instead of the other way around, right? And so I started to read the Bible, and I was really hooked by how perfectly on point, especially the New Testament, is on morals. It's like I was lacking like a moral standard at that point because I did my own morals. Morals were relative to me at that point. It's like everyone is kind of figuring out their own sense of what's right and what's wrong. But what's in the Bible is like, it's like it felt like that's the ultimate moral truth. Like what they say, what's right and wrong, I couldn't put it any better. Like 0%. If I would think about it for years, I couldn't put it any better. Like it was so on point, like giving me like a guidance on how to live a good life. I felt like it was literally like a book that's written for my life and for everyone's life on how to live a good life. Like 100% guarantee if you follow these morals, you're gonna have a good life. And I was like, that's crazy. And I was really amazed, you know? And I wanted to know more about this truth from the Bible and this God from the Bible. So then I stumbled upon a series called The Chosen. I don't know if you know it, but it's like the New Testament pretty much in a series, and it's on Netflix and it's free on the internet, available for everyone. It's about the disciples and Jesus. And man, since the first episode, I guess every episode in that series, I had goosebumps. Sometimes I cried, sometimes tears in my eyes. I mean, the Jesus portrayed is very good portrayed, by the way. But like what Jesus says and the situations that he's in, that's like the best person I could imagine, you know, walking on earth. He's like the absolute role model on how to be a loving person. And this was amazing. It still is. I still have goosebumps because it definitely changed me to see that portrayed in a series instead of just reading it in the Bible. Huge, massive impact. Then I talked with my friend Gabriel about this series, who also was definitely looking for some spiritual answers and like was super open to Christianity because he was also raised Christian, and we started to dig more and more into this topic, watching the series together, talking about how we can combine New Age spirituality with Christianity, if there's like a way to see how both things are true, you know, maybe Buddha was right and Jesus was right, and we really try to match the concepts somehow so we have like a belief system that's like all-inclusive. But the more we dig into that, the more we realize that New Age spirituality isn't really a belief. It's more like everything meshed together from all world religions into one kind of thing. But there's there's strong contradictions even in New Age spirituality itself. Like, do you have reincarnation or do you have just heaven? Or like, you know, do you always continue? Or is there like literally an eternal place, for example, right? All these stuff, there was like a lot of concepts that I needed to figure that out because I'm a very rational, very logical person. So I needed to figure out all these rational questions and answers of these concepts. It wasn't enough for me just to feel amazing praying and connecting to God, and then more and more often connecting to Jesus as well. I definitely needed the logical answers as well. So I did read a lot of logical arguments. I read an amazing book. It's called I Don't Have Enough Faith to Be an Atheist. So it was like all arguments for God, and this helped me a lot because my rational mind, which was pretty much controlling my life before that point, could finally calm down because it realized that the rational arguments for God and Jesus are actually strong, really strong. The rational arguments are even stronger for God and for Jesus than against them. So that was super, super, super key for me to have like this rational foundation to base my faith on. When I had this done, like intellectually done, I could just really open up and really believe. Going to church and really feeling His presence, so much peace, so much happiness, healthier friendships. I mean, my personality changed. I've overcome insecurities. I've healed past wounds with Him. I feel like my desires in my heart are changed, you know, like back in the day I was more driven to fill myself. Now I'm more driven to fill others, you know. I have a huge drive not to sin anymore. I don't want it because every time I sin, I feel like my connection to this eternal source of love, infinite source of love, is being cut off a little bit, and I don't want to don't want to lose that connection anymore. It's so precious for me to connect to Him every day in a personal, private prayer, to go to church and to feel His presence. Like I've changed from I want to control my own life to like I just give Him like the steering wheel and I'm just in the back seat being happy. I can be a little bit more childish again. So He really gives me this security of doing what I actually want, being not afraid of things because I ultimately know He has my back. He is my ultimate security when I fall, when I die, that I will be with Him. So this ultimate sense of security is absolutely freeing and crazy because you can do stuff that you didn't have the courage to do it before. So He gives me a lot of courage. Yeah, man, He literally changed every aspect of my life, changed my whole purpose. I know now why I'm here. The sense of just knowing I'm gonna be alright. The sense of trusting to know that like I have a best friend up there who's taking care of me. And I have this huge feeling of being loved and being accepted by Him for my being, not for my actions. I wouldn't change it for anything. Wouldn't change it for money, wouldn't change it for fame, wouldn't change it for girls. This is the best feeling and fulfillment level that I ever had. And so why would I change it for anything, right? That's pretty much my story on how I found Jesus, and let's see where this is gonna take me, but I'm sure it's gonna be a really, really, really nice journey with Him. So cheers to you. Open your heart to Jesus. Let Him fill you if you ever feel the need to. It's worth it.